We're on day 56 of our 60-day healing journey to establish healthy boundaries. This journey is for anyone who's having a problem with saying no. If you always say yes when you really want to say no, you want to start setting boundaries, but you don't know where to start. If so, this is the journey for you. We're on day 56. 4 more days. 4 more days. The affirmation for today is, I radiate respect, calm, and strength. I radiate respect, calm, and strength. Now, what is this affirmation saying? This affirmation, it says, my energy speaks for itself. I don't have to shrink for anyone. I don't have to say anything. But how do we get to the point where this affirmation is actually real? We have to embody, and again, we have been saying this in the last few videos because this is the most important part of creating boundaries. After doing all the work, putting all the time in, we begin to embody this energy of strength. You become the boundary. Nobody will, without you saying anything, people will not cross you the same way because they'll be able to feel the difference. But it takes time, it takes effort, it takes practice, it takes work. You have to be, dedicated to this journey to get to that place. Because once you start to form those boundaries, you begin to separate from those things that are pulling you down. And as you separate from those things that are pulling you down, now you have the space to do the inner work. And the inner work is the thing that is going to help you to rise up into the better version of yourself, to elevate into that person. But it takes you separating from those negative things. So see, when we have these feelings of guilt and fear and shame and all of these things that may come up when we decide to set these boundaries, that's when we have to automatically reflect on why we are doing these things. What is this boundary going to create for me? This boundary is going to give me space so that I can have, get into oneness with myself, so that I'm able to figure out what works better for me, so I can know myself better, so I can understand myself a little better. In that space is where you find answers to being the better version of yourself. You get clarity and focus in that space. And then those things will eventually fall away. So that affirmation, I radiate respect, calm, and strength, is definitely going to become a reality when you begin to form those boundaries and start to listen more to your inner voice. Start to be more confident in who you are. The somatic practice is gentle torso twist while seated, exhaling tension. So we'll be doing gentle torso twist today while we are seated and exhaling tension at the same time. The visualization technique for today is visualize your aura expanding with confidence and calmness. Visualize your aura expanding with confidence and calmness. So as you visualize that, I truly believe that the more you visualize and you begin to see this in your mind's eye, begin to feel it, and let yourself physically, as you begin to feel it and think about it in your mind's eye, you begin to feel it in your body. That is you beginning to embody that frequency, that vision that you have, and then it becomes real. The more you stay in that frequency, the more you're able to hold that, it becomes a reality because you're actually experiencing it at that time. So that's the visualization technique for today. Again, I like to do these visualizations before I go to sleep so that I can plant this into my subconscious mind. I can go to sleep with that there, and hopefully the next day, you wake up with that already planted, like you planted a seed and it begins to grow. The journal prompt is, which interactions reinforce my sense of power? Which interactions reinforce my sense of power? Which interactions are you feeling more powerful in? Is it in specific places with specific people? What are those interactions that make you feel a sense of power? Truly, the power begins when you start to realize who you are, when you start to remember who you are, not just mentally, but remember. Pull those pieces of yourself back together that you gathered when you get back to the place of, that quiet place that you need from setting those boundaries. That's what happens, and that's what you are allowed to do when you create these boundaries and that separation starts to occur. In that space is where you start to put yourself back together. You call back the pieces of you that you might have given away to different people and different places that drained you, and you start to put yourself back together. Put yourself back together to a sense of wholeness. And that's when you regain your power, when you're able to do that. And in regaining that power is when you start to radiate that respect, that calm, and that stress that we said in that information. So it's a whole bunch of things that you're doing at one time to become whole. Because in that wholeness is that alignment. Then you're able to get them downloads. You're able to tap into information, your focus, your clarity. You're able to understand yourself better. You're able to love on you more because you're redirecting your energy. You're redirecting your energy back to yourself instead of pushing it out to all types of different situations. Now you don't have to protect yourself. You come out of that survival mode of feeling like you had to protect yourself around certain areas. Now that energy can be used to redirect and come back to you, to take that energy now to pour into more self-care and self-love and healing. So that's our tiny boundary, that's our journal prompt. The tiny boundary practice is politely reinforce one boundary that feels vulnerable. So the boundary that you feel is a little bit iffy, like you don't feel so strong in that area, reinforce that. Practice doing that thing. It may make you feel very uncomfortable. That's how you know that it needs to be reinforced, because it's one of those things that you just like, oh, I just don't feel like doing this. I really don't. But deep down inside that that's something that you need to do. It's time to start listening to yourself. Time to start listening to yourself, especially if it's a repeated thing that keeps nagging at you, trying to direct you and show you which way to go. The bonus holistic tip is take a short mindful walk outside to recalibrate energy. Take a short mindful walk outside to recalibrate energy. That's our bonus holistic tip for today. I've been having super long days because it's a holiday season. It's the end of the year. So I've been getting on these videos really tired. I appreciate you all for still listening to me, taking the time and subscribing to my channel. And I hope everyone is well. I hope you're doing what it takes to stay on top of things so that you're able to look at it from a higher perspective and stay grounded and centered so that you don't get swept up into this end of the year chaos that's happening. So you're not swept up in everybody else's foolishness, okay? So this is our 56th day. We only got 4 more days, y'all. I'm determined to get through, even if I come on this camera with my eyes closed because I'm about to fall asleep. But I'm coming on this camera because we got to get through to the end. So I will see you tomorrow. Peace and love. Mwah.